I work overnight ground control at a regional airport. Most nights are routine. Then a storm rolled in and an aircraft appeared on radar 30 miles east of the field. No transponder, no flight plan, no radio contact. Yet the system identified it immediately. Flight 702. My supervisor saw the call sign and went pale, because Flight 702 wasn't overdue. It wasn't missing. It had crashed during a thunderstorm in 1982. No survivors. But as the target continued toward the runway, every approach light at the airport switched on by itself. And someone finally told me the rule every controller learns. If Flight 702 calls, don't answer. Approach. You seeing this? A moment later, Carl answered. Negative. Nothing filed in that sector. The target continued inbound. Steady, deliberate. Most aircraft wandered in weather like that. This one held a perfect line toward runway 27. I checked the arrival schedule. Nothing. No cargo flights, no medevacs, no late arrivals. The airport was supposed to be empty until morning. Then the radar tag refreshed. A call sign appeared. Flight 702. I frowned. Probably a software error. Old systems occasionally assigned random identifiers to unknown returns. But then the secondary radar picked it up. Then the approach display. 3 systems showed the same thing. Flight 702, moving toward the airport. I keyed the radio. Unknown aircraft east of Canton Regional, identify yourself. Nothing, only static. I tried again. No response. The target crossed 20 miles, then 15. That's when every approach light on runway 27 switched on, at once. The entire runway lit up through the rain. I stared at the lighting panel. I hadn't touched it. Nobody had. The tower door opened behind me. My supervisor, Martin Hale, stepped inside. What happened? I pointed toward the screen. His eyes landed on the call sign. The color immediately drained from his face. For several seconds, he simply stared. Then he asked quietly, "Did you contact them?" I tried twice. He looked genuinely alarmed. "Don't transmit again." The target continued inbound, 10 miles. Outside, lightning flashed. For a brief moment, I thought I saw an aircraft shape moving through the storm beyond the approach lights. Then darkness swallowed it again. Martin grabbed the red operations phone. "Airport police, lock down airside access. No vehicles near runway 27. He hung up before they could ask why. I turned toward him. "What is Flight 702? He didn't answer. The radar swept again. 8 miles, 7. Then the tower speakers crackled. Static filled the room. A distant male voice emerged beneath the noise. "Canton Tower." Martin froze. The voice returned. "Flight 702. A chill ran through me. "Requesting final clearance." Martin lunged forward and muted the radio. Silence. Only rain against the glass. Flight 702 kept moving. 5 miles. 4. 3. The runway lights burned through the storm like a beacon. Then the target disappeared. No turn, no missed approach, no descent. It simply vanished 2 miles from the runway. At that exact moment, every approach light shut off. Darkness returned to the airport. Neither of us spoke for nearly a minute. Finally, Martin looked at me. "Save every recording from tonight." "What is Flight 702? His eyes shifted back toward the storm. Then he answered. "It isn't missing." Lightning flashed beyond the runway. "It crashed during a thunderstorm in 1982. He paused. There were no survivors. I didn't go home after my shift. By sunrise, I was sitting in a records room beneath the terminal, staring at a newspaper clipping from October 1982. The headline read, "Passenger jet lost during storm approach. Flight 702, 83 passengers, 5 crew members. No survivors. The aircraft had been attempting to land during a severe thunderstorm almost identical to the one we'd experienced the night before. Officially, the crash was blamed on weather. Unofficially, the report felt incomplete. Entire pages were missing. Witness statements had been blacked out. Sections of the investigation were simply marked restricted. I spent hours digging through old archives. The deeper I went, the stranger things became. The final radar track ended 12 miles east of the airport, exactly where Flight 702 had first appeared on my screen. According to the report, controllers lost contact at 2:23 a.m., 7 minutes before the crash. The last transmission released to the public was routine. The captain requesting vectors for final approach. Nothing unusual, nothing alarming. Yet buried in an evidence log, I found a note from an investigator. A single sentence. Obtain original tower recording. The recording itself wasn't attached. Someone had removed it. That was the first moment I realized people had gone out of their way to hide something. Around noon, I found Martin in his office. He looked exhausted, like he hadn't slept. When I mentioned the missing records, he didn't seem surprised. "Stop digging," he said. "What happened to Flight 702? He stared out the window for several seconds, then finally spoke. "My father worked the tower that night." That caught me off guard. "He was on duty during the crash?" Martin nodded. "He never talked about it. Not once." "What changed?" His expression darkened. "A week before he retired, he told me one thing." The office suddenly felt very quiet. "What did he say?" Martin swallowed. "He said Flight 702 wasn't alone." A chill crawled up my spine. "What does that mean?" He wouldn't explain. Outside, thunder rumbled in the distance. Another storm was building. Martin opened a drawer and pulled out a faded photograph. The picture showed the airport tower in 1982. Several controllers stood outside smiling at the camera. One face had been circled in red ink. Martin's father. On the back, someone had written 3 words. "It followed them." I looked up. "Who wrote this?" Martin shook his head. "I don't know." The room fell silent. Then my phone buzzed. An airport weather alert. Severe thunderstorms expected overnight. Estimated arrival, 2 a.m. Almost the exact same time Flight 702 had appeared. Martin saw the notification on my screen. For the first time, I saw genuine fear in his eyes. Then he quietly said, "If it comes back tonight, don't answer the radio." "Why?" He looked toward the darkening sky outside. "Because whatever contacted the tower last night," he paused, "wasn't the pilot." The storm arrived the following night at exactly 2:01 a.m. By 2:10, lightning was flashing across the eastern horizon. By 2:17, I was staring at an empty radar screen and wondering if I'd imagined everything. Then the alert sounded. One chime, the same as before. My stomach dropped. A target appeared 12 miles east of the airport, not 30, 12, closer than before, moving directly toward Runway 27. The call sign populated almost immediately. Flight 702. I looked toward Martin. He was already watching. Neither of us spoke. The target continued inbound, 10 miles, 9. Outside, rain hammered the tower windows. The airport cameras were displayed on a monitor behind us. One feed covered the eastern approach corridor. Mostly darkness, mostly rain. Then lightning illuminated the sky. For a fraction of a second, an aircraft appeared on the screen. Not a radar return, not a reflection. An actual airplane. The image froze before either of us could react. I rewound the recording, frame by frame. The aircraft looked wrong. Its landing lights were on, its silhouette was intact, but the fuselage looked damaged, scarred, like something that had spent decades sitting at the bottom of a lake. The next lightning flash showed it again, closer. Martin quietly cursed. The target crossed 6 miles. Then the radio crackled. Neither of us touched it. Static filled the tower. A voice emerged, weak, distorted. "Canton Tower." I felt my pulse spike. The same voice from the previous night. "Flight 702. The transmission broke apart. Then something new happened. More voices appeared underneath it, dozens of them, layered together, whispering, talking, crying, like an entire cabin of passengers trying to speak at once. The radio meter jumped into the red. Martin immediately muted the channel. The voices vanished. Silence returned. Neither of us moved. 5 miles. 4. The target continued toward the runway. Then every approach light switched on again, by itself. The airport glowed through the storm. I glanced toward the camera monitor. The eastern approach feed had gone fuzzy. Static rolled across the screen. Then the image cleared. The aircraft was visible again, much closer. And this time I could read the numbers painted near the nose. 702 Lightning flashed. The image froze. For one frame, I thought I saw faces behind the cockpit windows. Not pilots. Passengers. Dozens of pale faces staring outward through the glass. Then the feed died completely. The screen went black. The radar target reached 3 miles, then 2. The runway lights brightened. Rain streamed across the windows. The radio suddenly came alive again. Martin hadn't unmuted it, yet the voice came through anyway, clearer than before. "Canton Tower." A pause, then a sentence neither of us expected. "We're not alone." The transmission erupted into static. The target disappeared, just like the night before. Gone. No turn, no descent, no crash. Nothing. At the exact same moment, every runway light shut off. Darkness swallowed the airport. For several seconds, only the storm remained. Then Martin slowly turned toward me. His face had gone pale again. "That's not in the public report." "What isn't?" He looked toward the dead radio. "The last thing the captain said before Flight 702 crashed." Outside, another bolt of lightning split the sky, and somewhere beyond the storm, something moved. Something following the flight. The next morning, Martin finally agreed to show me something. We drove east of the airport along an abandoned service road that disappeared into the woods. The storm had passed, but the sky remained gray. After 20 minutes, we reached a chain-link fence. Beyond it stood an old concrete building half hidden by overgrowth. An abandoned FAA radar station. The windows were boarded. The antenna tower had collapsed years ago. "This is where they tracked Flight 702, Martin said. Inside, dust covered everything. Old consoles, rotting paperwork, equipment that hadn't been powered on in decades. Martin led me to a storage room in the back. A metal filing cabinet stood against the wall. He opened the bottom drawer. Inside were dozens of reports. Every one of them referenced Flight 702. My stomach tightened. The dates stretched across 40 years. 1985, 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989, 1990. The flight had been reported over and over again, always during thunderstorms, always approaching the airport from the east, always disappearing before touchdown. "What is this?" I asked. Martin handed me a report. The witness was an air traffic controller. The statement read, Aircraft visible through storm, multiple passenger faces observed in cockpit windows. Another report. Received radio transmission after muting frequency. Another. Runway lights activated without command. Every account matched ours, word for word. Then I noticed something worse. Many reports ended the same way. The witness would file the statement, then never file another. No transfer record, no retirement record, no resignation. Just gone. How many? I asked quietly. Martin didn't answer immediately. Finally, he said, 9. The room suddenly felt colder. 9 controllers disappeared? He nodded. Over 40 years. I looked back at the reports. Every name had one thing in common. Each person had heard the transmission, the one we heard the night before. We're not alone. Thunder rumbled outside. A storm was building again, far sooner than forecast. Martin walked deeper into the room and opened another cabinet. This one contained audio tapes. Most were labeled with dates. One wasn't. Its label simply read, Original Tower Recording. October 1982. The tape I'd been searching for. The tape someone had removed from the official investigation. Martin stared at it. I've never listened to it. Why not? His expression darkened. Because my father did. He handed me the cassette. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then the lights overhead flickered. Once. Twice. The old building groaned around us. A distant crack of thunder shook the walls. And somewhere outside, hidden beyond the trees, I heard something that shouldn't have been there. Jet engines. Low. Approaching. Martin heard them too. His face immediately went pale. The sound grew louder, closer. Neither of us moved. Then every light in the abandoned station went out. Complete darkness. Outside, lightning flashed through the broken windows. For a split second, it illuminated the old radar screen across the room, a screen that hadn't had power in decades. There was a target on it. One target, moving west. Its call sign glowed faintly in the darkness. Flight 702. And directly behind it, a second radar contact appeared for the first time. No call sign, no data, no identification. Just a larger target following close behind. Whatever had been chasing Flight 702 in 1982 was still there. That night, the storm returned. By 2:15 a.m., Martin and I were back in the tower. Lightning flashed beyond the eastern horizon. The original cassette sat between us. Neither of us had listened to it. Then the radar alarm sounded. Flight 702. The target appeared 12 miles east, but this time there were 2 returns. The second contact followed directly behind it, larger, keeping perfect pace. No call sign, no transponder, no identification. My radio crackled, muted, yet a voice still came through. Canton Tower? Martin went pale. Flight 702 requesting clearance to land. The voice sounded exhausted, afraid. Then dozens of other voices emerged beneath it, passengers, whispering, pleading. The sound filled the tower. I looked toward the approach cameras. Lightning flashed. The aircraft appeared, closer than ever. Its landing lights cut through the rain. The fuselage was scarred and corroded. The number 702 stood visible near the nose, and behind the cockpit windows, faces. Dozens of pale faces staring outward. The target crossed 3 miles, then 2, then 1. For the first time, it didn't disappear. The wheels touched the runway. I watched spray erupt from the pavement. Flight 702 had landed. The impossible aircraft rolled down runway 27 while the second radar contact stopped at the far end of the field. Waiting. The radio exploded with static. A new voice emerged, not the captain, not the passengers. something else. Deep, distorted, ancient, and it spoke 4 words. Send us another one. Every monitor in the tower went black. The runway lights died. Darkness swallowed the airport. For several seconds, only the storm remained. Then emergency power restored the screens. The runway was empty. No aircraft, no wreckage, nothing. Flight 702 was gone. But one radar target remained, the larger one. Slowly it began moving east, back into the storm. The system refreshed. A new identifier appeared beneath the target. Not a flight number, a name. One of the controllers listed in the old reports. One of the 9 who had disappeared. Then the contact vanished. The storm cleared before dawn. Officially, nothing happened. No aircraft landed, no unusual activity occurred, no report was filed. Martin retired 3 months later. I stayed, mostly because I couldn't stop watching. Over the years, I've learned something. Flight 702 isn't the danger. The captain's final transmission was right. They were not alone. Something followed that aircraft out of the storm in 1982. Something that never crashed. Something still trying to reach the airport. And every time thunderstorms roll in from the east, I find myself staring at the radar at exactly 2:17 a.m. Most nights there's nothing there, just weather, just rain. But sometimes a target appears. Flight 702. And directly behind it, something bigger. Still following. Still waiting for clearance to land. And that's where this story ends. Flight 702 still appears during storms, still approaches from the east, still asks for clearance to land, and somewhere behind it, hidden in the storm, something else is following. Something that has been waiting more than 40 years to reach the runway. So here's my question. If you were sitting alone in that tower and a voice came through a muted radio asking for permission to land, would you answer? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story and want more airport horror, air traffic control mysteries, ghost stories, and unexplained encounters, make sure you subscribe to Campfire Horror Stories. Every subscription helps the channel grow and lets me bring you more stories just like this one. Until next time, keep your eyes on the radar. And if Flight 702 ever appears on your screen, don't clear it to land.